I was one of those people that always felt like credit cards were a bit overwhelming. I mean, you had to think about travel, cash back, dining, restaurants, supermarkets. I mean, the whole nine, gas. We could keep going on, but credit cards can be a bit overwhelming. So in this video, I want to talk about how I simplify my wallet, and maybe it can help you because I don't feel like everyone's financial needs are met through one person's opinion. This is my opinion, and I feel like what I've learned creating this channel, simplifying something simply means is a simpler way to do something in your own sense. So without further ado, I'm going to explain how I simplify my wallet and hopefully it can help you. Let's get into it. So when I say simplifying your wallet, all I simply mean is the credit cards that are in your wallet has a specific need. And when I say that, I mean, for example, let's say you were out dining with your family. The card that I would go for in this scenario would be the Capital One Saver card, but that's just a simple example. So I guess I might as well go ahead and talk about the first card that can simplify your wallet, that definitely simplifies my wallet, the Capital One Saver card. And it's for that reason that I just used in that example. Dining, supermarkets, stuff of that nature, which the supermarket category could be a bit confusing because Target nor Walmart is included in that supermarket category. But if you shop at other places that are actually supermarkets, then you will get that multiplier. The Capital One Saver card is a cash back card, meaning you get cash back. And the categories are, you get 3% cash back on dining, supermarkets, entertainment, popular streaming services, and then you get 1% cash back on all other purchases. And that's just the main offers that the Capital One Saver card gives you, because the Capital One Saver card has a lot to offer, which I'm not going to go over that throughout this entire video. I'll just link up a video up here where I talk about everything that the Capital One Saver card has to offer. And if you want to learn more about it, check that video out after this one. So if I'm shopping at the supermarket, I go for the Capital One Saver card. And if I'm dining, if I'm doing anything that involves entertainment, and if I have popular streaming services, I typically put it under that card because I will get that 3% cash back. And it just simplified things for me in those categories. But let's say I was in an instance where I didn't feel like there was a card that I feel I would get 3% cash back or more. I could just resort to a catch-all card. And basically a catch-all card is basically a credit card you can use in any scenario and get some kind of value back as long as you pay all your balances off in full every single month so you don't gain interest. Because obviously if you gain interest, you will lose all the benefits from these credit cards. And I have two catch-all cards that I want to bring up in this video. And I explain why it's two because of the two that I picked. In the first catch-all card that simplifies my wallet is the SoFi credit card, which I talk about this credit card a lot on this channel because the credit card is a 2% catch-all credit card. It's just that simple. Obviously, it has other things that it offers, but if I use it in any scenario, I would always get 2% cash back. So I look at it like it doesn't matter where I'm at, I can use that card. Even if I'm at a place where I can get more on the Capital One Saver card, if I don't feel like thinking about it, I could just use the SoFi credit card and still get 2% cash back, which obviously that's not the smartest move. But in those situations where you're just in a rush, you're not really trying to think at all, you could always use that card and know you will get some kind of benefit back. But the first card I would actually go for is a card that I use strictly through my phone. The Apple card. That's my second catch-all card. And the reason why this is my second catch-all card, because the Apple card, you get 2% cash back at all merchants if you use Apple Pay. So I'm sure you probably caught that. If you don't use Apple Pay at that merchant and you use the physical card, or you pay in a different way that isn't Apple Pay, then it's 1% cash back. So in those instances where they don't have Apple Pay, or they don't allow you to pay through your device, I would then use the SoFi credit card so I can still get the 2% cash back. That's why it's my number one catch-all card. But the Apple card is brilliant if they have Apple Pay because you get 2% cash back. And at certain merchants, you actually get 3% cash back. So if I'm shopping at any of those merchants that Apple offers 3% cash back, then I would use the Apple card. But if that also falls in the category where the Capital One Saver card can be used and get 3% cash back, I will use that over the Apple Card. And that's probably the most complicated that my system is when the Apple Card has a 3% category, but the Capital One Saver also has a 3% category, which rarely ever happens. It'll probably happen at a place like Panera Bread, where I rarely eat at, simply because it's a place for dining, which the Capital One Saver card gets 3% cash back. But the Apple Card, if you use Apple Pay at Panera Bread, you also get 3% cash back. Rarely ever happens, but just to give you a scenario. So that's my 2 catch-all cards. And then you have my 1 card for dining, supermarkets, entertainment, and popular streaming service, which is the Capital One Saver card. Okay, so let's take these examples a little further, because I brought up Walmart and Target earlier in the video, how I would gain the most value from Walmart due to the fact that some people would think it should fall under a supermarket, which it doesn't. So you can't use the Capital One Saver card in this category and get the 3% cash back. How I would go about it is I would use the SoFi card, because I would get 2% cash back at Walmart, because I still can't use the Apple Card at Walmart, at least in the Apple Pay form, because it doesn't accept Apple Pay. So I won't get 2% cash back at Walmart. I would have to use the physical card, which then I would get 1% cash back. So in that scenario, I would use the SoFi credit card, because I will get 2% cash back on that purchase. But I'm missing one big category: gas. So the card that I would actually get for my gas purchases, and it would be the only category that I use this credit card in, it would be the Citi Custom Cash card. So with the Citi Custom Cash card, you get 5% cash back on your top eligible spend category each billing cycle, up to $500 spent. Basically meaning if you only use this credit card on gas each billing cycle, it should be your highest eligible spend category if you only use it on gas each billing cycle. So I would say that this is a very good strategy, due to the fact that if all you ever do is use the custom cash card at gas stations when you get gas, but don't forget, you do have a limit up to $500. So once you spend that cap of $500, it does drop down to 1% cash back. Say it does drop down because you spent over $500, that's where I would then take the SoFi credit card and use it on gas temporarily until that billing cycle is over, because at least you'll still get 2% cash back on that gas after $500 from the custom cash card, or even the Apple Card if the gas station accepts Apple Pay, because then you would get 2% cash back on your Apple Card, only temporarily until that billing cycle is over. And personally, I don't have the Citi Custom Cash card, because I use a business credit card for my gas expenses, because for me that is a business expense. But if I only have personal credit cards, that's the way that I would go about it. And I wanted to talk to the majority of people rather than a small audience of people. But I do believe this strategy is great if you truly want to simplify your wallet and not overthink it so hard. And obviously, this isn't the most fitting strategy for someone who wants to travel at all, to be quite honest. It isn't really built for someone who wants to travel a lot and get a lot of points or stuff of that nature. This is more so for a cashback setup. But I do feel like right now what's going on in the economy, a lot of people are trying to figure out how to reduce on certain things and not overuse anything. So I feel like this is a good strategy for that. So I don't really feel like there's a lot of people too concerned with traveling currently with a lot of the things that's going on in the economy at the time of filming this video. And if you're trying to simplify your wallet, I feel like this is a good way to go about it. But with that being said, I'll see y'all on the next one.